live in Harborview and Kent Island, and I'd like to thank the league for putting this together. My wife Liz and I have been on the island for going on 35 years. We love it there. We found a little house down on the creek, raised our kids there, and the crabbing's still great. The fishing is still, crabbing's even better. Fishing is good. It's a good life for us. It's been great. I've also had the opportunity to have a very good and rewarding federal career over in D.C. And yeah, I commuted for about 25 years. I retired in 2001 after 34 years of combined military and civilian federal service. I was the National Director of Human Relations and Equal Opportunity for the National Guard across the country. But I was able to get quite involved in our local community as much as the Hatch Act would allow without being too political about it, but got very involved in our community. And I have had the opportunity to serve in a number of community organizations and about 15 county boards and commissions trying to make a difference on Kent Island. I'm very proud of a couple of things I've been personally involved in on the island that I see every day. Our library on Kent Island, I was one of 3 folks that helped to work for about 10 years to make that happen on the island. Redesign of some of our overpasses, the design of Terrapin Park, the purchase of the airport, trying to make it community friendly. And very recently, the work to redeck the Bay Bridge. I chair the Bay Bridge Reconstruction Advisory Group. I think I've helped to make a difference here on the island and Queen Anne's County, develop the collaborative leadership style, and I would like to help to bring that leadership style into county level leadership, and appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you. Now comes your chance. What I'd like you to do to the speaker so everybody can hear you, to the microphone. You'll say your name and the town you associate where you live. The hosted will have both people have an opportunity to ask if they want to. Okay, who will be our first person to come ask a question? It's not hard. It's really easy. Okay, the lady back here in pink. Can you come up? So say your name first and where you're from.
Okay, my name is Carrie Babb, and I live on Kent Island, Stevensville, Maryland. And I think I'll ask this of Howard Dean. Are you familiar with Route 8 South, Southern Kent Island?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have a picture of it here. The question's about Southern Kent Island, Route 8 South, and I'm wondering what your position is regarding investing a significant amount of taxpayer dollars, county, state, and individual citizens' money, estimated to be more than 100 million, 200 million, to build infrastructure such as sewer, water, roads, school, emergency, fire, police, emergency services down one way in, one way out road, dead-end road. And do you think this is an appropriate location to invest infrastructure dollars that would allow significant growth?
Mr. Davis?
That's a very big question. First, you have to really look at the roads, and the state there, that's a state road. You have to look at that and the cost of that. You have to think about the cost it's going to cost the homeowners down there for the sewer. It's really a health issue down there with septics running over, and if it comes to that, it's totally a health issue. I think that you've got to make some kind of you've got to do something to correct the health of the county. You have to, let me start again. You've got to be aware that it's a real health issue down there, and we've got to protect the people in that area.
Okay. Mr. Gannon, would you like to?
Sure. Plain and simple now. I would not put sewer line down Route 8. There's too many problems that would come along with that. Number one, your developers will develop everything down there. The traffic would be a total nightmare. Like Mr. Dean says, it is a state road, and you cannot have that much more traffic on it. You know, they had a death down there, what, 3 weeks ago or something, a traffic problem, whatever. I'm not very aware of it. There's no way I would support run the sewer down Route 8. On the other hand, yeah, there are some issues with some private septics that maybe need to be looked at or whatever, but there's no way that I would support running septic system down Route 8.
Okay, next question? Yes, this is
From Centerville, and my question is for Mr. Gannon. Mr. Gannon, I appreciate you addressing elderly taxes, although I like to call myself a senior citizen. That's a very sensitive, area for myself. There are many seniors that are moving to Queen Anne's County, and you talked about the supporting teachers and police department. The other departments you said would need to be looked at. Okay, what about the Department of Aging?
Well, obviously that's one of the other departments going to have to be looked at. I don't want to cut anywhere. So let's be realistic. We're going to have some tough times here. We might have to consolidate in some areas of that. No one wants to hurt senior citizens. Believe me, I don't want to do that either. But I still say that everything has to be looked at. But I mean, my father's 81 years old. My mother's in her late 70s. There are a lot of family that are seniors, so obviously I don't want to be getting all the phone calls from them too. They're going to look out for me and make sure I'm looking out for them. I will generally look out for senior citizens, but on the other hand, everything needs to be looked at also.
Mr. Dean, would you like to respond?
Yes, I think we have, or I know we have more senior citizens in the county than we do high school students. We've got to take care of the senior citizens. I know my mother's in a nursing home now, and I see how that is, and we have got to have more support for senior citizens, definitely.
Thank you, Mr. Dean.
Thank you. Next question. This lady here.
Bill from Stevensville, and specifically about Kent Island. We have lots of space still at the business park that is there. We have a shopping center that was built probably 10 years ago, not built 10 years ago, but rehabbed 10 years ago with still space that has never been rented out. And yet I still see more and more stores being built on the island. Why can't, like the old Safeway that's up there, why can't something be done to fill the spaces that are here on this island before more is built? Thank you.
I think that's an important part of the future of our economic growth in Queen Anne's County. I've had many residents ask me the same thing. We need to be a lot more creative, and there's several other citizens on the island that have brainstormed this who want to work with groups like the Chamber and like the Economic Development Commission to help to reach out. I think on the Safeway, understand they have a lot. They actually, the old Safeway building, Safeway company has a lock on who goes in there. There have been some interested firms, but they have a non-compete clause. They're very specific requirements in some of those, but I think we need to be really creative in reaching out and help not only new areas where we can develop, but particularly the vacant spaces on the island. I share your concerns. I don't think there's a magic bullet, but I think it's a matter of reaching out and being very creative in a public-private partnership kind of a way.
Next question.
My name is Mary Ruth Meredith, and I'm a retired teacher in Queen Anne's County. I live in Wine Mills. And my question I want to ask Mr. Broderick tonight is, last year in legislature, they did come up with a bill to move the retirement money back to the counties, take it away from the state and move it back to the counties. And I want to know how you feel about that.
That's a toughie, Mary Ruth. I agree totally with you. I don't think it's responsible at all on the part of the state to look at pushing down that requirement. And what we're talking about is the obligation for the retired teacher's pension, which the state now has. The state is looking at pushing that down to the counties. And if you think we have budget challenges now with the gas tax money not coming down, it would be worse in the future. The teachers deserve, retired teachers, who I have to thank for my kids doing as well as they've done in their lives. Wonderful folks. They deserve our support. What I feel we need to do is to work very strongly together with our legislators, with our leaders over in Annapolis, and with the Queen Anne's County Education Association and Maryland State Education Association to work as hard as we can work, so that the state steps up to the plate and keeps that requirement at the state level.
Okay, next question?
Thank you. My name is Nick Soar, and I live in Chester on Kent Island. And I have a question for Wynn Kozak. This is a sort of a follow-up to the question that was raised earlier about the sewer line issue on Kent Island. I'd like to get your views on that, and also on the DNR septic systems that can be used as an alternative. And the second part of that is, generally in the county, what your thoughts are on land use and development and growth issues to manage traffic and things along this line.
I hope I can get it all in, especially in this economy. I take a very firm stance against it. I don't think the county has the money to do the job. I know the state does not have the money to do the job. Just the cost of taking the sewer down there alone is going to be enormous. Once you do that, you've got 1,600 lots that you cannot refuse service to. Once you have the 1,600 lots, you have families moving in, you're going to need additional school. The schools are already at close to 100%, if not more than that. So you're going to have money to build a school. The roads cannot accommodate it. You're going to have to go from 2-lane to almost 4-lane. There's no money for that. The citizens are going to have to take on an extra burden in a recession of close to $7,000. And I just don't think that's acceptable in this time. So at this point, I would say it's just not, the county cannot afford to do this at this time. On the second part of your question, I'm sorry, was about development.
Septic, DNR septic.
Oh, there are other alternatives that supposedly that could be explored to possibly take care of some of the worst case scenarios down there that could be put locally in the residents. And I think that those need to have the county needs to take a stride to look at those, because I don't think we can afford to fix the whole mess all at once. But obviously it's a health and safety issue, and those they should be addressed.
Ms. Taylor, would you like to respond?
Yes, I agree with everything that he has said. Just in addition, I was just thinking about a difference. We have to come to a conclusion what is smart growth and needs and necessities and wants. And sometimes we have to make hard decisions. Some things are just desires and not necessarily necessities. You know, I desire a Lamborghini, but I need a car. So we have to desire, and you can't afford it, it's going to put you in a bind. So some things we have to make a good decision on. That's all.
Thank you. Next question.
Tracy Herzog. I live on Kent Island. I was wondering what Ms. Taylor, your views were on if Mr. Ehrlich would be voted into office, how you would feel about the Four Seasons project and other huge development projects in Queen Anne's County.
Again, pros and cons. I won't sit here and say yay or nay, but after going through everything that he plans to do for Queen Anne's County, getting knowledge and wisdom about everything, and then collectively we'll make a decision with the other commissioners and hopefully make good decisions, smart good, instead of just doing things to look good and then in a crunch. So I don't really say yay or nay right now, but we have to look at the whole picture and decide if it will be good for the whole county.
Mr. President? Mr. President, would you like to respond?
Actually, yes. There is great concern, whether you're for or against Mr. O'Malley or Mr. Ehrlich, that if Mr. Ehrlich gets in, that if the developer with Four Seasons, which the Stevensville-Chester CAC identified as the greatest threat to Kent Island, they could make some minor changes and resubmit it to the governor of the Board of Public Works, which they denied the wetlands permits for the 18 outfalls into the Chester River. We're going to need some very strong commissioners to be able to stand up if Mr. Ehrlich would by chance go ahead and overturn the rule